Beth Williams with Chicks with Tools, which is the educational side of Careth House. And today I'm taking advantage of the quiet in the house to do our dining room. So most of this video is going to be about the tablescape. So this year I decided to go with a real peaceful palette of blues, teals, greens, golds, and I am going to use peace as my theme. I think we all need a lot of that this year, so me included. So the way we first have to get started is with the foundation. So I'm going to put down a white tablecloth and start layering from there. So I have the foundation down, and I've also added this layer of table toppers, and these are an organza kind of fabric. I got them at tablecloths.com. I don't get any money for telling you that, but this is my favorite source for getting multiples of things like table toppers and also tablecloths. And you actually save money, because if you rent things like this, it can cost, like for a banquet tablecloth, it can cost you, $17, $18 just to rent it, and you can buy it for cheaper than that by a good margin. So I recommend the website, tablecloths.com. So I've got the white tablecloths, then I layered 3 of these organza toppers, and then I'm going to add another layer down the center, which is a gold lame bit of ribbon. Actually, it's just a giant ribbon. So very shiny, fancy. But I always like to have something down the center anchoring it. Now, I have this in pieces. I've used this for our Christmas tree, one of our Christmas trees, as a garland kind of thing. So it is now graduated to be used for other things. So I'm going to start by finding the center here. And I know where the center of my table is. And just put it right here. And I don't think I will need the extra pieces that I have, so that's all right. Everything's shifting around. All right, so now I've got these 3 layers going on right here. And I will be adding extra color later, but for right now, I'm going to go on ahead and start with the next thing, which is the actual arrangement. Okay, so I've got my box right here in the center of the table. And this, as I said, this is a trim box that I made, and I've got a few of these that you can buy off of our website. And I'm going to put some floral foam in there, and this will be a way that I can just stick the stems in. And it's not going to fill up the whole box. I'm out of floral foam, so I'm not going to stress over that. If you wanted to put actual live greenery in here, you can fit like a lasagna pan inside of here and just put some water in it, and then use Oasis, which looks very much like this, but it's like a sponge, and so it holds on to water. I'm going to be using fake because it is mid-November, and I want this to last until the new year, so it doesn't make sense for me to use real greenery as much as I like it. So the first thing I'm going to do is divide up the greenery that I have, and I'm going to alternate sides. And so I'm going to be filling this up, and not every piece has to actually go in to the floral foam. And I'm just gonna alternate like this, and I have quite a lot of this. Like I said, I buy things over years and just keep reusing it for different things. So I've got 3 stems in here so far, and some more in this way. The overall plan is that I'm going to put in a whole bunch of greenery and drape the greenery down the table, and then I'm going to put the Christmas ornaments inside that, going all along, and then I will also add some candles into the mix. So I do need to be sure that I'm leaving some flat space for candles. So good reminder to myself right there. I also have some of these fancy things. There's this, sometimes I have a more natural look, and sometimes it's a very, glitzy kind of look. This is going to be a little bit more on the glitzy, glittery side. So I am going to incorporate about 3 of these per side, and then I even have some of these, which are really pretty wild. And then, you know, I might decide I don't like that. We'll see. Again, it's an organic kind of thing. I don't know always ahead of time what it's going to look like. In fact, most of the time I don't. I just have a general idea. I decided to go on ahead and put the candles in because I'm not sure how things need to lay out. I want to be sure I have a flat space for all of them. These are not real candles. A while ago, as crazy as it sounds, we switched over to a lot of fake candles. Just fire hazard wise, because at Christmas time we normally have a ton of people coming in and out of the house, you know, forgetting to leave them on, and or to blow them out, and also they last a lot longer. So these I got from Big Lots years ago, and they're not as nice, admittedly, as the real fancy kind, but you know, they work for this situation. So now I am going to start layering in my real glitzy kind of stuff, and be sure that I don't have any bald spots. So I still have one piece of Greenery left, so I'm actually going to cut this apart into some smaller pieces so I can fill in the gaps. So as you can see, I've already put in the gold sprigs. I use 2 of them, and then I put blue in there as well. And now I've started to layer on my ornaments. I've already divided them between gold, green, blue, and teal. And then I had some unusually, like this unusually large one that I'm going to use as my focal point. And I know you can't see the candle on that side, but you can see it on this side, so that's okay. So I'm going to put all that sort of my one-off things in the center, and then I'm going to do all my teal all the way down this way, and then I'm going to come back with the other colors and just intersperse them and balance them out until it's all complete. To do is actually set the table. I went through my cupboards to see what I had, and I like to use cloth napkins when at all possible. I had some of these words piece with the little glitz and glitter on them that I've been using for a long time on another tree, so I just took those. I have just enough for a Christmas dinner. And then I'm just going to take these napkins that I already had. Yes, there's stars, and that's not exactly my motif, but it does have gold on it. I have navy napkins, but that just seemed a little bit heavy for this, and I didn't want to use just plain white, and so that's how I landed on these particular ones. So I'm going to layer those on top of my plate, which is white with a gold rim. And then we have a bunch of these chargers that we've been using since we got married 21 years ago. And so that will be how it all lays together. After putting all the plates around the table, it just seemed a little bit out of balance. It was too pale over on this side, and I needed to bring some of that color onto the place settings. So I have this ribbon. I looked at my navy ribbon, and it just didn't seem right. So this is sort of an in-between color. It's a teal, and it's sort of a woodland green actually, and it's got gold threads going through it. Again, I've had this for years, and so I'm going to just cut it on a miter. In other words, an angle, and make it a little bit wider than the plate itself, and then I'm just going to lay it underneath here. And it's just going to add just a tiny bit of color and just make the table balance out better. As I said before, my work is a bit organic, so I change things as I go. So what I noticed is after I put the ribbon underneath all the plates, I like how that looks, but I would like to put a little bit of the same ribbon in the arrangement, which will, it will tie the two together, but it will also just add a little bit more luxury to the arrangement itself. So the best way to do that is with a small piece of ribbon and cut it straight, and depending on how deep the greenery is, that will determine how big of a loop you want to make. And then you take a piece of wire, and I like to reuse just about everything, and so this is wire from where I took apart a garland, and so you notice that I looped it around and then I pinched it together, and now I'm just going to wrap this around here. So now I've created my own pick, and I can just stick it down inside the floral foam. And you also notice when I did all of these, put all these ornaments in here, I didn't wire anything in. And that's because it's not a permanent arrangement. If I were making this to sell, then I'd have to have it a lot more permanently together. And in that case, I would use hot glue. So, but mine are much more temporary things because I will deconstruct this and put all these ornaments away. And then next year I'll do something different. Now, I do not do this for all of my spaces. I do not rearrange everything every year. I usually upgrade a ribbon or two on a different tree. I always do a different dining room tablescape, usually centered around a Christmas carol. This year I didn't have a particular Christmas carol in mind, but I don't want to say I'll have a blue Christmas. That's not a Christmas carol for starters. I'd like for there to be a deeper meaning, as in the true meaning of Christmas. But if I can think of a Christmas carol that says peace on earth in the title, then that would be a good one. So I will continue to do this and balance it all out with all these little pretty loops. Last night I finished up the dining room, and I did that by doing these trees. We have 2 of them. So at the beginning of the project, I divided up the ornaments in thirds, so I would be sure to have enough for each space. And so last night I started by putting the fronds at the top, like I had on the tablescape. Then I put on the star, and then the bow. And often I put the bow on at the very end, but when it's wide like this, I don't want it covering up ornaments. And also I wanted to tuck it into the tree itself, not just let it hang. So then after that, my normal process is I do the more unique things, or I do the generic things first, but I don't do them at the same time. I like to put all the unique things at one time, like this bird and these 12 Days of Christmas ornaments, which, by the way, the 12 Days of Christmas has spiritual meaning. And then I do all the generic stuff like the Christmas balls, which is what I put on the table. So I finished it up by just putting some tablecloths around the base. You don't have to buy tree skirts. You can just use cloth of any kind. And so that's what I did. And also, as a correction regarding tablecloths, the name of the website I referred to before is called tableclothfactory.com, not tablecloths.com. I also wanted to tell you that I did this whole dining room for $30. I know you don't believe that, but it was about $30 this year. And I got, what I did buy this year, I got at 60% off. I never buy anything unless it is on sale. And if it is not on sale, it is not for sale. So if I would have bought everything start to finish this year, this dining room would have been $500 plus. But because I always buy things on deep discount, then I save money that way, clearly. But I also buy things over time. So some of these ornaments I've had for at least 6 years, if not longer. And so, you just reuse things. I don't glue things in, like I said. I just reallocate as the fancy takes me. And sometimes you do need to throw things away because all the glitter falls off, or they break or whatever, or they're just clearly out of date. But most of the time it's not because of that. It's because of just wear. So anyway, I want to encourage you to start where you are, use what you have and do what you can. If you need to, go in the yard and clip some branches. You don't have to go out and spend a pile of money. Just look around and see what you have and make a tablescape out of it, even if it's using your kids' toys or nutcracker collection or snow globe collection or something like that. And just when you make it big, it makes a show. When you have multiples, you have a lot of something, it makes a great show. So if you have any questions or if you have some ideas you want to share, you know where to find me. All the details will be at the end of this video. So I hope you will sign in for the next video as well. And please subscribe, and so you can get promotions as well as getting news on our blogs and everything that we're doing here at Kareth House. So I hope to see you on the next one.